He's Wally Szczerbiak. He is a CBS Sports college basketball analyst. He's also the analyst for the Knicks with the MSG Network and a Timberwolves 6th overall pick in the 1999 NBA draft. Wally, good to have you back on. Take me back to, I think you were in Seattle the last time Seattle had an NBA team. You were there. That was your first, that last year for Seattle Supersonics. What do you remember about that?
Well, I remember there was a lot of turmoil with the ownership and the franchise and what was going to happen. I remember we were playing in the Key Arena and they wanted to get that arena redone or move arenas. I loved the city of Seattle. I loved going there to play there as an opponent. I loved playing there as a player and living there while I was there. It's a phenomenal city. It really is. Right by the water there. I only played there for 5 months. Then I got traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we made a couple championship runs in my last couple years of my career. But I really had a good time in Seattle. I hope they get a team back. But you're right. The following year is the year they moved to Oklahoma City. So I was with the Supersonics the last year they were in Seattle.
And you were there. Durant was 19 years of age when he got to Seattle?
Yeah, he was 19. Jeff Green was a rookie. It was a rebuilding mode for the Seattle Supersonics.
Was Durant great at 19?
He wasn't this great. He turned the ball over a lot. PJ Carlesimo was using him as a two guard, kind of running the offense at half court. So he was struggling a little bit. He still won Rookie of the Year, so he figured it out his rookie year. His shooting percentages weren't great. But as his career went on, he became a dominant mid-range scorer where, a guy at 6'11", 7 feet, you give him the ball 15 feet from the basket, posting up, he can just turn and shoot over anyone. So you knew he was going to be great, but he struggled a little bit that rookie year, as a lot of 19-year-olds do, and obviously he's become one of the greatest of all time.
If you had to choose, you had to guard Durant or LeBron, since you played with LeBron.
Whew, that's a great. Well, I guarded LeBron in practice, so I think I got a few tips on how to do it. So I would have to say probably LeBron. I mean,
what do you want to make LeBron do?
Just shoot from outside. That's the thing. Kevin Durant is a lethal outside jump shooter, especially from the three-point line. LeBron has improved his three-point shot immensely over the course of his career. But as a defender, I think for the most part, you can live with LeBron making threes and making jump shots. You just can't let him get to the basket because he's one of the most physically dominant players of all time. So I would say Kevin Durant, you can't let him shoot from outside because he'll kill you from deep too.
He's Wally Szczerbiak, the former NBA player and working studio with March Madness. How many times was your name misspelled on your jersey? Did you ever have one of those moments?
Yes. I remember my rookie year with the Timberwolves. We always had an extra jersey, thank goodness. But I remember my rookie year, we had a misspelling in one of my games early on in my career. And our great equipment manager, Clayton Wilson in Minnesota, he always had the backup. So he had a backup to get it right the next that night, actually.
Do you have that jersey?
I don't. I think Clayton just took it, and I think he torched it because he didn't want to know about it.
Explain the sequence at the end of the UCLA game where you get the putback, and then there's that 3 seconds where Mark Few doesn't call timeout, and I believe he had one timeout left. But in that moment, it worked out. But is that the smart decision with a coach, with a freshman who is getting the ball?
Well, I think it was a brilliant decision, and I'll give you a couple reasons why. First of all, what a game. And I was literally 30 feet from the court. We were down there getting ready to do a hit. So to be a part of that moment in real time and be on the floor pretty much was just an amazing feeling for myself and my colleagues. Ryan Hollins went to UCLA, so his heart was absolutely broken. There's a picture that's kind of surfaced with him grabbing my arm, just like, oh no, it's going to go in. Oh no. And it's all over Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. It's really a great picture. He's a wonderful guy, and what a run by UCLA and what a performance by those kids. Honestly, it's a shame that someone had to lose that game. UCLA just ran out of time, like Clark Kellogg said, but phenomenal job to tie that game up at the end. But Gonzaga is coached to when a basket is made to push the ball up the floor. I mean, if you see Jalen Suggs, he starts turning and looking to run, and Corey Kispert, who's their 4-man, and also Timmy, who's their 5-man, they're coached to get that ball out of the net quickly, pass it up ahead to Jalen Suggs, and he's like a blur. I mean, he's going to be a top 5 pick, maybe the top pick in the draft. So he just goes. So that's something they do every possession on a make. And I just think UCLA just didn't really think, okay, we still got to play these last 3 seconds out. If you can make Jalen Suggs make one turn, stop him. They just started running back on defense like it was a normal possession, and he's going to get the ball up the floor in 3 seconds. And then there was no contest on that shot. I mean, I was watching the play, and when you watch it in real time, you can just see nobody on UCLA was stopping him in the backcourt. And all they needed to do was just move in his way, and he would have had to turn, and that would have thrown him off, and he would not have gotten as good of a shot and as good of a look. It's a credit to Jalen Suggs. It's something the Gonzaga Bulldogs practice every day. That's how they play all 40 minutes. They love to run on makes, and UCLA had to be aware of that. But I understand the moment. I mean, you just tied up a game in overtime, and the kids were just, it's a tough situation. And Jalen Suggs just made a heroic shot off the glass.
But I think that's the point, though, Wally, is you almost relaxed a little bit because you think we're going into overtime. Like we had the putback, we've tied it up. They got 3 seconds. They're not going to do anything with 3. And then you all of a sudden you see who has it, and then he's got a great look. And he knew it was going in.
He did. I mean, I'll tell you. And he was a step over half court. This is a shot that guys practice. We saw it in the All-Star game. Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, those guys were making threes from half court to end the game and at halftime. So this is something guys nowadays practice. And Jalen Suggs is a talented athlete, phenomenal football player, basketball player, Mr. Basketball, football, and basketball in Minnesota. So this is something that a point guard works on. And, he knew I had time. He got it off in plenty of time. And wow, what a historic moment. I mean, that's the greatest basketball game I've ever seen. It was just phenomenal. And I can't wait for tonight. The 2 best teams in college hoops going at it.
Okay. What does Baylor have to do to win this?
That's a great question. I mean, Baylor has the offense, I think, to keep up with Gonzaga. Baylor is a great offensive rebounding team. And you remember the theme against Houston was, can Baylor keep Houston off the boards? They did that, and they actually offensive rebounded against Houston. That's something that Gonzaga is going to have to watch out for, because Baylor has a couple guys down low, and Flo Thamba, Chama Chachua, and Mark Vital, who love to hit the offensive glass. And then on the offensive end, the key is Davion Mitchell. I mean, he is a guy that I love. He's my favorite player on their team. I think he's the key to their team. A great on-ball defender, also a great point guard who gets dribble penetration, not only scores for himself, but he gets the shots for all the shooters. And they're the number 1 3-point shooting team in the country. They shoot 41% as a team because he gets into the paint, breaks down the defense, sprays it out to those shooters, and they knock down threes all over the court. So I think in order to beat Gonzaga, Davion Mitchell has to be getting into the paint, getting paint touches, living in the paint, and creating open threes for his teammates.
How do you explain Timmy?
I couldn't figure Timmy out, watching him on TV, but being 30 feet from the court and watching him play, I completely understand his game. He is the smartest basketball player in college basketball today.
Really?
And one thing he has is huge feet. I mean, he's got to wear size 20 shoes. I mean, he's not overly tall. I think he's about 6'9", 6'10". He's got long arms, very, very fibrous muscles, and he has an incredible feel for the game. I mean, he can go over his right shoulder, his left shoulder, finish with his right hand, finish with his left hand. He's impossible to stop one-on-one in the post, but it's because he's so nimble as a big man. I mean, his elasticity, he slithers through areas that a lot of big guys can't really get through. And I think he is their most skilled and best player. I don't think it's even close. When they need a basket, throw the ball to him, because he can score on anyone one-on-one in the post. And then on top of it, he's so smart. I mean, how about that charge he took in regulation? I mean, that was just a brilliant play at the height of the game when they needed a defensive stop. And he slides over and takes a huge charge on Johnny Juzang. So I just love his game, and seeing him in person, you can really appreciate how smart he is as a basketball player, those little moves that he makes in order to give himself advantages.
I hate that charge call.
I know. Too many charges in college right now. They got to revisit the charge. I think when a guy when an offensive player doesn't hit the defender squarely in the chest, I don't mind. The defender obviously has to be not moving, but if he hits the guy on the shoulder here or on the shoulder here, and the offensive player is obviously trying to avoid the defender, I think you got to start calling that a block, because that means the offensive player is in control of his body and he's not out of control. So when you're in control of your body as an offensive player, you're trying to avoid that guy, and you still kind of are paying attention to the basket, it's going to be hard to avoid contact. So I think they have to revisit that charge call, because way too many calls are being called offensive fouls when I think they should be called blocks.
Well, spoken like a true scorer. Did you make your last shot in the NBA?
I believe I did. It was in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was against the Orlando Magic, and I think I did. I didn't have a great game. I think I was like 3 for 8 or something like that. But I think the last shot in the fourth quarter that I got was kind of like a little elbow jumper, 15-footer, and I think I knocked it down.
Did you ever airball a free throw?
No, I don't think so. And that's what's driving me crazy about Luka Doncic airballing free throws. I'm like, what's going on around here?
I don't understand it. I mean, like, it's crazy that professionals shooting airballs.
I don't understand it either. And he's a great shooter, especially from the three-point line and all over the place. I just don't understand it. I think he's got to just develop a routine where it just becomes, he's just such of a feel player. Like, he shoots his threes off the dribble. He shoots his threes fading to his left, sometimes fading to his right sometimes, that I think, on the foul line, you just have to stand there, Luka. You got to get a routine, and you just got to mechanize that shot and get his free throw shooting percentage up. I think he should be a little bit better free throw shooter.
Yes. I mean, all these guys should be at least 75. It's a free throw. Like, just get up there, have some form, get a rhythm, bend down. Like, come on.
Hey, you're talking to the wrong guy. I shot 86%, so I figured it out.
How many could you make blindfolded?
Out of 10? I got to try it. I've never tried it. I would think, I can, like Jordan, once you dribble, you look and you close your eyes, boom. But if you keep the blindfold on, then it can start going really, really sideways, honestly. Like, if you keep the blindfold on, I would hope to make 2 or 3 out of 10. But if you dribble, get your routine, then you close your eyes like Jordan did in the game, I think at that point you make about 7 out of 10.
Why did Jordan do that? Just because he's Jordan?
Just to prove his greatness, and probably to talk smack to an opponent that was trying to get under his skin. That's what he does.
Did you face him when he was with the Wizards?
I did. Yeah, we had a lot of success against them. The Timberwolves played them twice a year. And I think, if my memory serves me right, we went 6-0 in the 3 years where we played against them.
Did you talk trash to him?
No. No way. I had to guard him.
Yeah.
As a 3-man. He was doing a lot of posting up, so it was a good matchup for me. I like guarding guys in the post. And I also, played against him in the All-Star game. When I made the All-Star game my 3rd year, he was on the East, I was on the West. We got that win too. But, I didn't see the vintage Jordan of the 90s. So I saw Jordan at the end, when he was more of a post-up player, still a great player, but he wasn't quite the athlete that he was in the 90s.
But you owned him.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. He owns me on the golf course, that's for sure. We've played a few times down in Florida, and he definitely owns me on the golf course, despite being our handicaps being right around the same.
He might be a sandbagger a little bit, though. Hey,
he's pretty good.
Great to talk to you, Wally, and enjoy tonight. Should be fun, and always appreciate you joining us.
My pleasure, Dan. I'm a huge fan. Keep doing your thing.
That's Wally Szczerbiak